do you have to actually do the treatment on at least 2 models? That was my understanding anyway, but clearly people are just handing out certificates without even doing that.
Yeah, maybe that is what is required, but we've heard of people only injecting a piece of fake skin.
That's wild. If I was that student, I'd be like, how are you giving me this certificate? Like, you've not seen me do it.
How can you feel confident signing someone off when you've only seen them inject a piece of plastic?
How can you send them off on their way and expect that person to go and inject someone's face having not ever done it?
It's crazy.
Hi guys, it's Holly here at Faces. Welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I am joined by the lovely Adam and Sophie from SA Beauty and Aesthetics Training. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. So just to kick things off, why don't we go through how you guys met first of all, because obviously you run your own businesses, and then when it came to the training side of things, you decided to partner, which is great. So do you want to just go through sort of how it all started for you?
So we met through a mutual friend, didn't we?
We did.
And then we got chatting, and Adam works at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, and I used to work there, and we had quite a lot in common. We got on really well, so it's been a good partnership.
Amazing. And when was that?
About a year ago now.
Yeah, about a year ago.
And we pretty much got up and running straight away with the training, because I was already holding training at my clinic, and we got together, and yeah, it's been good.
So was that something that you were looking to do, Adam, or were you already offering training as well, and then you just decided to collab together?
No, so I was only offering treatments at the time. I did want to get into training, but it wasn't something that I'd thought of to happen so soon. But obviously, I brought my friend to Soph for a treatment. Me and Soph got chatting, as she said, and we just found out that we're both, similar individuals, both quite driven, quite business-headed. So yeah, we formed a little mini partnership.
Amazing. So do you ever conduct training together, or is it always, you do different courses, so you'll both lead different sessions?
Pretty much always together.
I like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun, and the students get more sort of one-to-one with us then.
Yeah,
we can take half the group, or if there's less students on the course, we can guide one each through the practical, and we can get more models done in a shorter space of time.
Yeah, so exactly. Amazing.
So exposure to actually putting needle to skin, which is good.
Yeah, that's it, because obviously you've got to oversee all the treatment, so having an extra person there means you can get models in at the same time as well. So do you tend to run group sessions then rather than the one-to-one sessions?
We do run some one-to-one, so we do refresher courses for people who are already qualified but maybe have been off on maternity and haven't been practicing for a while. So our refresher courses we tend to run one-to-one. If we're doing a sort of a tailored package, so somebody said I want to come and train in Botox, filler and fat dissolve, we tend to run that on a one-to-one as well. But other than that, we have groups of up to 4 really, because then that's 2 students each for us to supervise. So we deliver the theory together, both of us, and then we oversee the practical. So Soph will take 2 students, I'll take 2 students, but we tend to rotate the students that we're taking as well, because they're going to pick up different techniques from each of us and different hints and tips from each of us, even though we work quite similarly. And we sort of both work from the same hymn sheet. It's nice for them to just get a little bit of guidance from both of us, so we sort of rotate between the students.
Yeah, do you know what? I absolutely love that kind of setup, because it's different dynamics within the same training courses, like you say. But then I think from every training course, you're going to take little kind of pearls of wisdom from everyone. So it's nice that, the students get to experience that within just coming to one place. They're not having to do individual training with both of you. So I think that's really nice. Do you find the feedback, particularly with the refresher courses is really positive in that sense.
Yeah, they do like the refresher courses because I think sometimes it's just about having a pair. I think their knowledge is already there. We still go over the knowledge, but their knowledge is already there.
It's like a comfort blanket.
It's a comfort blanket, yeah. So that more than anything, they just want us to watch them while they're injecting to make sure that, I think in their heads they think that they're going to do something wrong or they're scared of an occlusion. So obviously we're just there as sort of a safety net to sort of check things over for them and check their injection technique.
Yeah.
So the feedback that we get from refresher courses is really, really good. And they like that it's tailored to them and it's on a one-to-one.
It's nice doing a refresher as well because you can learn off the students as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because a lot of them haven't trained here, so they'll give us little things that they've picked up from other academies and other tutors.
It's really nice.
Yeah, do you know what, that's a really good point, and I think that's something which a lot of people don't really talk about. It's, you know, you're all in the same industry. You know, you're going to learn things from people who come.
You never know everything.
Yeah, exactly. With regards to students who come in and do your refresher courses, from me speaking to a lot of practitioners, you know, there's always that kind of maybe reservation in terms of choosing an academy to train with, because I think a lot of people tend to have had quite bad experiences with their initial training. So when they're wanting to do a refresher, sometimes it can take a bit of time for them to actually find the suitable academy. Do you find that you get a lot of students through who have had poor initial training, which is why they come back to you?
Yeah, we've had a couple of students that have come to us, and the things that they've told us, you know, are very poor practice and sort of not even in the guidelines really. And then particularly after those students, we do get really, really good feedback at the knowledge that we give them and the sort of the hands-on practical experience that we give them. You know, we've had a couple of students that have come and said that they've been delivered the theory, but then not had any models to practice on. So they've been signed off as competent, but they've not done any models. You know, all they've done is watched a demo, or, you know, just had the theory delivered to them.
It's often the support afterwards as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's just no support afterwards for the students. With most of the ones that come back for the refresher courses, they're not offered that, you know, the option to go back if they don't feel confident, or to call up their tutor and say, look, I don't get this, can we go over this again? They're just literally passed and never spoken to again.
But I've heard that a lot.
We like to keep we've got a group chat with all the other students, and they always come back for more training, so I think that's a really good reflection on us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, repeat business, of course, is just kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? But I think just going back to the support side of things, I definitely agree with that. I think it's almost like a lot of academies promise the world to get people to book on, and then in reality, you know, once they've given the certificates out, that's kind of the end of it. You know, I've spoken to many practitioners who have just been like completely lost. They're like, I've done this course, I've got so many more questions, which of course you're going to have, because you're not going to learn everything in a couple of days. And my academy are just ignoring me, and it's really concerning, not only because it's not great for that student, but also I think kind of touching on regulation, the standard of training can't be incredible when academies aren't offering that support, you know, months down the line after the initial training. You know, I think if people aren't getting the support from their academy, they can't necessarily just go off and be an amazing practitioner. You know, they're either going to have to do more training, or I think a lot of them just don't feel confident to even start their businesses, which is a shame, because you spent obviously a lot of money on the courses initially. With regards to again the support aspect then, so you guys have your student support groups, which is amazing. I think that's great for people to meet each other as well. What other things do you sort of prioritize when it comes to supporting your students after their training?
Definitely point them in the right direction of good pharmacies to purchase products from, reliable places, insurers, obviously consent forms, faces. We always point them in the direction of using faces. So we kind of set them up so that they're safe in their practice to begin with, and then anything else we can always work on later. But they don't tend to really come back about anything.
Not anything training related.
No,
Sometimes
it's
they'll
normally,
message us and say,
how do I get more clients on social media?
Yeah.
It's normally those kind of aspects.
Yeah.
But we like to make sure they're totally confident before they leave.
Yeah.
Because I trained like 10 years ago now, and I remember I did so many training courses after my initial training course because I just didn't feel confident. So
Yeah.
we really try and tune in on that in our courses, don't we? And make sure that everyone's confident and they're not just nodding, you know, and pretending to understand.
Yeah.
Because it is hard when you first start.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like you as an academy, you want your students to succeed as well, or at least you should want your students to succeed. And I think that's maybe not the mentality that every training academy does have. I think a lot of academies just, you know, like we've talked about, just get people in to do the course and just kind of like just churn them out. Whereas I think just like you want your clients to be happy and, you know, feel confident, you want your students to feel the same as well. Do you find that at the moment with students training, there is a concern around regulation because they're potentially sort of entering into new treatments and being like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this? What's the consensus around your students and the anxieties with that at the moment?
I think the issue's been because there's been so much to and froing with these regulations, when it's going to come in, what's actually happening, and it's always been a bit of a grey area. I've always noticed no one really knows what's right and what's wrong, and so we do get questioned on it a fair bit. But we train a lot of nurses, don't we? But even then, you know, these regulations will affect everyone. So people are a bit more reluctant to enter onto just any training, which I think is good now. People are being a little bit more aware of who's teaching them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I spoke to somebody yesterday actually, and she's a non-medic, but she's actually doing her nurse qualification at the moment. So she's sort of doing it backwards, so to speak. And she was saying how she would only want to be trained by a medical professional, which I thought was quite interesting. And also I sort of questioned her on it because she is also learning to be a nurse, but she's not quite there yet. She just said that, you know, she would feel safer being a student, knowing that if there was a medical practitioner doing the training, they would know how to sort of deal with not only a aesthetics complication, but more of like even just basic first aid and that kind of thing. So it did kind of make sense when she did say that. Because I think that with regards to the regulation, they should bring in some kind of training which everybody has to do by way of like first aid, you know, anaphylaxis. You know, like if you're a medical professional, you do your like refresher training every year or every couple of years. I think that kind of thing should come into play.
I have seen a lot of non-medics. They take it upon themselves to learn these things.
Yeah.
You know, you can get nurses that are bad aesthetics practitioners. You can get doctors that are not good at aesthetics, and then you've got some non-medics who are absolutely amazing. So I think again, that's just something that's sort of exacerbated by the media, this kind of medic non-medic debate that's always going
on. I've got a friend who's a non-medic. I've told you about her before, and she's got so much knowledge that sometimes even with different techniques, if we're wanting to try a different technique, I'll go to her and I'll ask her. Or, you know, there's certain things that she's more experienced in than we're experienced in, like microneedling. So, you know, I'll ask her for her opinion on what serums to use, things like that. And as Soph said, as a non-medic, she took it upon herself to do safety courses, to do complications courses, to train herself in different things. And I think that just speaks volumes, really, because as Soph said, you've got some practitioners out there who are registered, and you know,
with a medical body,
and you've got a non-medic out there that's got far more knowledge, especially in dealing with complications, than what they would have.
I'd say like fresh knowledge, because they're aware that that foundation of knowledge isn't there, so they go out and they want to learn, and I do see that quite a lot, so that's a good thing. I think some people get, in the media especially, they say non-medic when they don't mean non-medic, they mean like a road practitioner, but non-medics are just people that don't have a medical qualification, whereas there are people out there doing it with no qualifications. Those are the ones that the media's shining the light, not actually the non-medics who are good at their job and are good as practitioners.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's you know, it's always the segregation between medical practitioner and then like this stereotype of a non-medic who's using unlicensed toxins, who's doing treatments in the front room. And I feel like that's kind of what the government see it as, if I'm being honest. Like, I think that they're not considering, like you say, there's people out there who have been doing it for years, who are non-medical practitioners, who potentially are better than some medical practitioners, more experienced, built up client bases, you know, putting safety first always, which is it's really disappointing, to be honest, but I'm hoping that those people will get considered when the regulations do come in, because at the moment it doesn't seem like they are, from what's been said already. What are your personal views on regulation and the traffic light system that's been released?
I think it's important to have regulations in place, because I do think as an industry it's very unregulated. You know, there needs to be a clampdown on the use of unlicensed Botox and on, like, you know, non-CE marked filler, and products from questionable sources. But I do think that some of the traffic light system is a bit harsh, especially on non-medics, you know, sort of the level that they can practice at without the supervision of a medic. You know, there's going to be people out there who've been practicing for much longer than I have, much longer than you have, that are non-medics, but yet they'd require supervision from us to continue their practice, just because the regulation says so. I do think it's a bit unfair in that aspect.
I do think it's good to link, you know, certain practitioners with a medic.
Definitely.
But then to oversee all the treatment, I feel, is a little bit extreme. Well, it's quite extreme.
Yeah, and also it's how doable even is that, having someone in clinic every day, first of all from a cost point of view, but also like availability as well, those basic things. I think the idea of, like you say, having someone at hand, whether that be a designated prescriber, which people, if you're doing toxin treatments, you should have anyway, or like a clinical director, just someone who's sort of named to your business as like a designated medical professional. I think that would probably put everyone at ease a little bit, but also kind of this, you know, clinical oversight hasn't actually been, it's not actually been, is everything okay?
I'll take this call.
Oh, it's okay. Clinical oversight. They've not even said what that actually means, have they? So it's, you know.
And I think that's really important, because we've got a practitioner here who does cogs and threads. So obviously she'll be okay from the point of view that she works with us. So it's okay because there's always one of us as a medic in the clinic.
Yeah.
But I think standalone practitioners that are offering, you know, even dermal fillers, cogs and threads, things like that. As you said, how feasible is it to have someone else to have that oversight in your clinic and to get that level of oversight, if that makes sense? Do you know what I mean? Because if I'm going to someone's clinic, that's a chunk out of my day. So obviously, unless I'm completing clients there, you know, and it's another cost. It's almost like if you're doing a toxin treatment, you've paid your prescriber, So unless prescribers incorporate sort of the supervision of the treatment, but again, then you're limited to that one clinic.
Yeah.
So it's hard because I'd have to, if I was going to supervise someone as a medic, I'd have to charge for my time, really, wouldn't I?
Yeah,
So again, it's
exactly.
another cost on the practice.
Yeah, you charge for a day rate. And also,
Exactly. So
yeah, it's
I think that's a bit unfair on the practitioners to have yet another additional cost on top of them. As I said, you know, when there's people that have been doing dermal filler for a lot longer than I have, but I just need to go and watch them. I don't think it's fair, really, from that sense.
Yeah, I think when it comes, sorry, I know we've kind of digressed onto like a big regulation chat, and we were meant to be focusing on your training academy, which we will go back onto. But also, it's important to point out, you know, obviously one of the main reasons why regulation is coming in is for client safety, but there's clients who specifically go to their practitioner because they've built that trust. And you know, it's like a safe space for them to open up. You know, it's so much more than just the treatment. So then either saying that their practitioner can't do so, sorry, or then kind of bringing a random person into the clinic room is going to be uncomfortable for everyone, especially the client. So,
especially like clients you've got a good bond with and you've known them years, and then this person peering over you while you're getting
it's like it's going to be distracting for everyone.
maybe chemical peel or facial or whatever. It depends on what the final decision. But
a lot of clients just want to chat, you know, to talk about their lives and, you know, what their husbands have been doing, girlfriends have been doing, what their partners have been doing.
Private chat.
A private chat just with their practitioner. So then if, you know, you've got someone else peering their head in, you know, how comfortable are they going to feel in that spot? And I think as well, you're never going to stop. A lot of people go somewhere just because of cost. So instead of going to you know, someone who's been in the business for a long time, is registered, is insured, and paying £180 for, you know, a mil of filler, they'll go to somebody who's just started, not really regulated, for £79. I don't think that's going to change just because the regulations come in.
No. Because I think if people, for example, the people who are using illegal products, you know, are doing it incorrectly, you know, potentially not insured, if they're doing that now, they're still going to do that. It's just going to be like, you know, they're still going to do it from their front room or like their friend's bedroom. It's still going to
make it harder for people who are trying to practice correctly and safely. So, it's a difficult one. Yeah,
definitely. Sorry, go on.
I see the idea is great, but is it realistically going to happen? Yeah,
we shall see. With regards to the training side of things then, so obviously new qualifications might come into play, or it might be the level 7, it might be the level 7, or the level 7 might even be reviewed and changed. We're not too sure yet. How do you guys feel about that as an academy then? So what are your sort of plans at the moment with the training side of things?
Yeah, we are planning to hopefully offer a level 7 qualification just so that we can keep up, really. And all of our students will feel as confident as everyone else. So absolutely. I think it's good to expect a certain level of knowledge and qualification. To know that every practitioner is going to have that is good.
Yeah, definitely. Just like if you went to beauty college, or you know, got an MVQ in something, everyone does the same thing, and it makes total sense. It just makes me think, like, why is this not already in place? So, you know, but yeah, I think everybody doing the same qualification and it being a standard across the board would be literally ideal. And then you know what you've got to do to achieve a certain standard to be a practitioner as well. So yeah, I think that's really, really important. What advice would you guys give to any potential student who is looking to do some further training? Because I know it can be such a minefield trying to choose the right academy. I mean, even I get training academies coming up on like Instagram ads and stuff all the time, like they're literally everywhere. So I think it can be quite overwhelming. So anything that you think students should look for when they're trying to consider an academy?
I'd look for a teacher whose work you'd like to base, you'd like to get to that level at some point, and someone with the right level of experience who's been doing aesthetics for a long period, not just recently qualified and then started teaching, because you learn when you practice, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Someone with that wealth of knowledge is going to be able to give you more knowledge as well. So
yeah.
And I'd also say look at people with a similar client base to what you got, so that you know that you're going to be able to offer the treatments to your clients. Because I mean, me and Adam, we've got totally different client bases, haven't we? So some people are really good at doing lips and that's what they focus on, and I like to do full facial rejuvenations and skin boosters. So you've got to choose wisely, I'd say. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Anything that you'd recommend, Adam, for somebody who's considering it?
Research into your training provider. You don't want to be training with someone that's doing training from a shed in the back garden. I think look at the people who've trained with them. We post our students, and I think maybe get in touch with a couple of the students that have trained with them, see what it was like, and check your teaching style as well, because people learn completely differently. So I think it's fine doing death by PowerPoint, but it's also about explaining, at the side of the bed, how you're doing things and why you're doing things, in front of the client. When they come as models, they expect you to be talking around them, so they don't mind. And sometimes the models will pipe up and say, "Oh, I never knew that," when you're teaching the students about it. I think
I'd say a certain level of number of live models is important.
Yeah, definitely. See how many live models you're going to have, because if you're having one, it's a bit meh.
It's not great.
Yeah.
We try and get 10 at least.
Yeah.
On our courses.
Yeah, I think that's because I used to work for our sister company, which is a training academy, and that was like the one question everyone wanted to know: how many models will there be? But like, I don't actually know, because the course is in 2 months' time, but we're going to try and get as many as we can. I think that's obviously the main thing, but that's good. You shouldn't want to go to a course where you're not going to be practicing at all. And I think to be insured, you have to actually do the treatment on at least 2 models. That was my understanding anyway, but clearly people are just handing out certificates without even doing that.
Maybe that is what is required, but we've heard of people only injecting a piece of fake skin.
That's wild. If I was that student, I'd be like, how are you giving me this certificate? Like, you've not seen me do it.
How can you feel confident signing someone off when you've only seen them inject a piece of plastic?
Yeah, that is mental. Yeah, how can you send them off on their way and expect that person to go and inject someone's face, having not ever done it?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of horror stories from training academies, to be honest. And a lot of people I've spoken to have said, the going back to regulation, it is the training academies that do need to be, there needs to be a set standard for the training, which I completely agree with. But no, I think that's really good advice for anyone who's looking to do any further training or looking to come into the industry. Definitely look to see how experienced the teacher is. I think even like checking they've got a teaching qualification as well. That's something that a lot of people don't even check. Check the courses are insurable as well, because I know there's a lot of academies out there they've got them like CPD accredited, but then they've not got them insured, so that no students can then get insured. But yeah, there's all these different things, isn't there, to consider as well. What are you finding are the most sort of popular training courses at the moment that you're running?
Advanced tox is really
Okay.
popular, and skin boosters as well at the moment.
Yeah.
People are discovering a whole new
Yeah.
variety of skin boosters that have hit the market, so
Yeah.
that's really popular. And I love the results of skin boosters, so
I think
I
we've
enjoy
got a
doing
good
that.
passion for. Soph's got a big passion for tox. We've both got a big passion for skin boosters. So I think that's one thing that we enjoy teaching.
Yeah.
So we get really good feedback on that course because
Yeah.
we really sell how amazing skin boosters are because
Yeah.
they are advanced tox as well.
Yeah.
Because I think people are moving away from sort of dermal filler now. Apart from lips, they're moving away from sort of facial dermal filler to sort of bioaesthetic agents like
I'd
tox
say
and
even lips.
skin boosters.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's so different to what we were striving for 7-8 years ago
I know.
with the whole big lip look.
Yeah.
People are enhancing their natural faces
Yeah.
in a more subtle way, which I think is really nice, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. I love a skin booster. Love a skin
Me too.
booster. So much. Like I just think they're the best. And like anyone who's not done any training in skin boosters, I'm like, you need to train because your clients will love them. Because I think as well, even though I think clients in general are aware as to what skin boosters are, particularly, Profilo's been out for years. 70 High, I'll do like these huge marketing campaigns. So I feel like people have sort of got the gist of it, but I feel like it's not necessarily a treatment that clients would instantly reach for, unless they've got that knowledge. So I think it's a nice one to offer, isn't it? If just to help with that skin rejuvenation and making their other treatments even better. Because if you've not got,
It's a nice add-on.
what was that? Sorry.
Oh, I think we overlapped a bit then on the video. It's a nice add-on.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone's looking to do some skin booster training, I'll put these guys' information in the description as well. And they love a skin booster. I suppose like when you're teaching as well, when you're passionate like about a specific treatment, it will shine through to the students, won't it?
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Always.
Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. We're about to run out of time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Amazing. All right, guys, thank you so much. Take care.
Take
See you
care.
later. Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.